Hey, my name is Wayne Thompson. Welcome. We're here at Hadoop and Strata. And what I'd like to do as a lead data scientist at SAS, show you some really cool software. It's called Visual Statistics. It'll be out in March of 2014, and we're really excited about it. So let's take a look at the software. So in this example, I'm actually over here in Visual Analytics. That product's been out for about a year now. And first of all, I'm looking at this variable called donation amount. And what I want to do is develop a charitable campaign to target people for donations. Now, the first thing I might also want to do is generate some correlations to see if some of these other variables are correlated with this response variable, donation amount. So I'm going to drag and drop that. Notice, just like that, instantly it developed a nice correlation matrix. And I can see other variables like recency, frequency, lifetime amount, and so forth are indeed correlated with my target donation amount. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to spend the rest of my time with Visual Statistics. What I like to know is, can I express this correlation matrix in the form of a predictive model? So watch this closely. This is the way I app swap from Visual Analytics over to Visual Statistics, and that's where we'll spend the rest of our time. I'm going to say model these selected columns. And again, what this does is it develops me a multiple linear regression model. It does this in memory. Keep in mind, I'm running in Hadoop across a cluster, and things just happen instantaneous. You can see that I have my continuous variable there, donation amount. I have all my predictors. And just let's take a look at the landscape. This is kind of like my coffee table report. If I open this up, you can see, well, what variables were important in predicting whether somebody's going to make a donation or not. And then we can see some other variables that are not. Now, you as the analyst have complete control. You can select the sliders, adjust these thresholds, and so forth. And you know, I'm an old school data scientist too. That's the way I like to roll. I like to see my ANOVA tables. I like to see my parameter estimates and all these things. So we made sure we had those as well for inferential statistics. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and hide this summary table and just watch this. This is the way you should be able to work fast, loose, and free. If I just take one of these effects, note the data's in memory, I drag and drop that onto the palette, it's going to automatically fit me a model in memory and update that dynamically. And so I can see that, and I can see whether or not in-house actually contributed to the model. I could take more than one. For example, I could take a couple of these variables. Let's take this one and maybe this one. Drag and drop them. This is a dynamic thing. We're not writing the data back out to disk. We're doing all these calculations in memory. All these tables are updated and so forth. Now, another thing I want to talk to you, big data is hard sometimes to visualize. Sure, we can look at things like variable importance, no problem. But what if I want to get down to the detailed level of each one of my customers? Well, in this case, I have a heat map showing the residuals for all this big data. It doesn't matter if I have 1 billion observations or 100,000. We can display this. Here you can see the intensity. The deeper the color, the more observations I have. Now, what I typically want to see is a nice random shotgun pattern here to tell me my model is of a good form. Normally independently distributed with constant variance. I can see I don't have necessarily a random pattern here. I might want to continue to work on my model. I may want to come up here and take some of these highly influential variables or observations for which my model's missing them. The predicted value is not in line with the actual observed value, and I might just want to exclude these from the analysis. I just refit that model, gang, right there in memory. I haven't written this down one time to disk, and again, this is what this product's about: fast, interactive, and fun. The other thing I can do is I can look at these residuals by things like, well, hey, how do the residuals look across the various wealth ratings that I might have? So I can look, slice, and dice the data in many different ways. And expect a lot more, too. The last thing I want to do, two things, mentioning, well, we've got a lot of other models up here, like generalized linear models. We've got machine learning at SAS. You know, we have a recommender system. We also have random forest to do many thousands and thousands of decision trees and average those. And the other thing that we have is we really have the makings of a model factory to be able to produce lots of models quickly. So if I take a variable like SC cluster, notice the cardinality of that variable has 5 levels. If I want to develop a separate model for each one of these, I simply can assign as a group by variable. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now notice that came down here and came in as a group by variable. I just like that. I built a separate model. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have my thumbnails here to see each one of those models. I can see the variable importance for each one of those models. I can look at specific variables across my factory to see if they're important. And also I get updates. So what I'd like to say is this product just rocks. It's fast. Thanks a lot.